just associated to you and I. So, doctor, let's just quickly get our audience acquainted. What's PR?
Well, thank you very much. CPRO is not an app, it's not a phone, something. Simply means cardiopulmonary resuscitation.
Begin.
Cardiopulmonary resuscitation.
Okay.
Talking about the heart, the respiratory system, and resuscitation.
Okay. I know basically is applied, is a technique that is applied in an emergency situation. Okay, so now basically the purpose now for CPR is an emergency situation.
Yes.
But medically, I know there is another hidden purpose there. So what is the purpose of CPR?
Well, CPRO is an essential life-saving technique that is used in emergency situations, as you have said. And the aim is to improve the chances of survival of individuals that are experiencing cardiac arrest.
Okay.
Yes, and it basically involves chest compression and rescue breaths.
Okay. Chest compression and
rescue breaths.
In other words, this person is not breathing well.
Is not breathing well or is not breathing at all.
Okay.
And the heart has stopped.
But the person is not dead here.
It's not dead.
It's not dead.
Yes.
But usually when there's absence of breath or we'll just say, he's dead.
No, the person is not dead.
It's not dead.
So that there is chances for such individual to survive. If and only CPRO is instituted on time.
Okay. Now you just said in a situation of sudden cardiac arrest.
Yes.
So now that word sudden cardiac arrest, what is it?
Well, cardiac arrest is a cessation or a loss of heart activity, the spontaneous heart activity, in such a way that the effectiveness of the heart function is lost. You know, as both of us are seated here in the studio, our hearts are working, beating, and we are not conscious of it. So yes, you are not supposed to be conscious of your heartbeat. Yes.
I think I used to feel my heart.
If you feel your heartbeat, then it means there is an issue. It's either you just exercise or there's something sinister. So that is palpitation.
That palpitation, we're not supposed to feel.
No. Ordinarily,
just supposed to
walk
silently.
Silently, you don't need to be aware. By the time you're becoming to be aware of your heartbeat,
there must be some activity. Either you have been
involved in a strenuous exercise or there is an issue of panic or pathology, underlying disease.
Okay, other than that, it's a disease situation. Other than that, our heart should just beat
without you being aware of it or conscious of it.
Okay, because the word arrest, I was thinking is maybe a military personnel comes and just say stop it.
No. The heart can also stop.
Okay, so that cardiac is associated with the heart.
Heart, yes. Activity. Cardiac means heart.
Okay.
So when you talk about cardiac muscles, you are saying heart muscles, as against other skeletal muscles that we're talking about.
Let's still talking on the dwelling on the cardiac arrest. Yes. What would you say will cause a cardiac arrest? Because activity like exercise is normal, so at that point the heart should palpitate fast.
Yes.
Fast. Okay. If it's now a disease situation, what are these kind of underlying diseases that we're looking at that could make one's heart palpitate or beat fast?
All right. Thank you very much for that question. There are heart conditions that can lead to cardiac arrest. And the most common is irregular heart rhythm. Irregular heart rhythm. And that is called ventricular fibrillation. What it means is that the lower part of the heart has 4 chambers.
Okay. 2
upper and 2 lower. The atria right, left, the ventricles right, left. So the lower chamber quiver uselessly instead of pumping blood. So it fibrillates.
Shaking.
Yes.
So the one that we
understand. Yeah. It fibrillates and it shakes. The heartbeat or contraction is not coordinated. Okay. It's irregular. So in such situation, cardiac arrest can occur. There are heart conditions that can predispose to having this irregular heart rhythm that will turn ventricular fibrillations, like coronary artery disease. That seems to be a very big word. It just means the heart muscle itself the heart has its own blood supply, the same way other parts of the body are supplied with blood. So the blood vessels that supplies the heart itself for it to be able to function is called coronary artery. So when there is disease of that coronary artery, so the supply to the heart will be affected. You see that there's a blockade or abnormal structure.
It could actually cause
cardiac arrest. Okay. Then there are other ones that can, let me just quickly mention,
okay, please.
Like when the heart is enlarged. Okay. The medical word cardiomyopathy.
Okay, so
the heart stretches.
I will say with heart enlargement.
Yes, the heart enlarges. There is stretching and the thickening of the heart muscle. The valves also, you have valves in the heart. These valves can also be diseased, leading to narrowing or leaking of these valves. And it leads to stretching and thickening of the heart muscles. There are some other heart conditions that can cause this. Quickly, I think let me just talk about the symptoms of cardiac arrest.
Because I was about to say, how do we recognize cardiac arrest?
Yes, symptoms of cardiac arrest. Cardiac arrest is immediate. These symptoms, they are immediate and severe.
Immediate
and severe.
No sign.
No, there could be sign. There could be sign. Immediate and severe. Sudden collapse. That's cardiac arrest. No pulse. When you check the carotid pulse, it's not beating. It's not pulsating. No pulse. No breathing. Or the breathing is abnormal. There is no breathing to abnormal breathing. Loss of consciousness. So, but sometimes you have symptoms that will precede this sudden cardiac arrest. That seems to be like red flag, warning signs. That ordinarily, when we see and experience, we need to have taken action by probably going to see our doctor. Chest discomfort, chest pain, talk about shortness of breath, complain of weakness, and the palpitation we talked about.
That shortness of breath or weakness, for how long should an individual experience this before you begin to view it or see it as a medical challenge?
As a medical challenge. Yes. By the time an individual has chest pain, not breathing well, it should be seen as you don't need to wait for a period before you think to do something about it.
Now, earlier when you talk about things that could actually lead to arrest and something activities like exercise, if one involves in an athletic exercise, running or jogging, at the end of it, this person is supposed to be breathing, panting, okay, and the heart is supposed to be heating up.
That's if it's from exercise.
Okay.
When you have a rest, it settles.
But
if it's not exercising, if it's not exercise that is a cause, if it's a disease condition of the heart, then
or you just notice you keep experiencing
this palpitation,
indication for
chest pain, you need to see your doctor. It could be something sinister.
All right. Yes. Because today we are looking at the cardiopulmonary resuscitation, the CPR. Now, the cardiac arrest is actually one indication where CPR must be administered because you said it's sudden.
Yeah.
And at this sudden point, the medical professional is not usually there. So, how is CPR performed, and who should administer CPR in the case of a sudden loss of breath?
Okay. I think that is the main cross of this presentation,
the CPR.
Of this discussion we have, CPR. We have guidelines, CPR guidelines. Okay. These CPR guidelines, they are the gold standard for performing CPR, and they're essential to ensure effective and standardized CPR practices all over the world.
Okay.
So these guidelines, they are developed and they're regularly updated and reviewed. It's 5 yearly. So the last review, every 5 years. Okay. The last review is 2020.
2020.
2020.
Okay, so we're due for another review.
Yes, by 2025. Okay. So by leading organizations like the American Heart Association, the International Liaison Committee on Resuscitation. So this guideline has some key highlights from the latest of this review, like compression only CPR. This time I think you'll just give me a little time to quickly run through this.
Okay.
Compression CPR, where you do only hands, only. You're only compressing the chest, no rescue breaths.
Yeah, I wish I would have a visual.
A visual, yes. I think talking about CPR, I think it's more of demonstration, practical.
Something we
Yes,
see,
you'll be seeing on it.
what
Yes. So where you do this chest compression, is makes the technique. This new guideline has simplified the technique.
Okay.
Then apart from that, it has also promotes early initiation of this CPR. You won't be saying, thinking, how do I don't want to do rescue breath. I don't want to do mouth-to-mouth breath. Yes.
But many persons are
afraid of that. Yes. But now that it's CPRO, chest compression CPRO only, then fast initiation of CPRO in the case of cardiac arrest.
When you talk about fast initiation, like
by a bystander, you don't need to get to the hospital. Because what we are talking about currently now is more of out of hospital cardiac arrest.
Okay. Now, do you give CPRs in the seated position or
in lying position? In lying position.
Okay. You lie with your back.
With your back.
With your
All
back.
right. You lie with your back. Let me quickly talk about the step by step.
Okay.
So that you will be able to get that. I was trying to give you, just at the time is short.
Yeah.
Yes, trying to give you the highlights.
But if Dr. Innocent will promise us that he will be here next week, we would really like to have our CPR videos, and then you do it the way it's supposed to be.
Okay, so let's.
Do I have you do I have your
promise? It's not a promise right now. Because it's not a promise right now.
But I do hope
I think it's a possibility. Yes,
okay.
So we can't do that. So compression only CPR. We talked about that. We also talk about the depth. It also highlights the depth of the compression. It must be like 2 to 2.4 inches, like 5 to 6 centimeters deep. And once you press the chest to that level, you need to wait for chest to rise up before you do that again.
Okay. Now, when you're talking about the pressing the chest, if you don't mind, I would like to see, okay, let's just, is it my hand this way, or do I have to interlock?
You would do that. Let's take it step by step.
Okay.
So that the viewers, those that are watching us, if they can follow at home what we are saying and do that. So what you want to do first is, before you start that, you need to be sure that this patient is unresponsive.
How do you mean?
Patient is lying flat, just collapse. It's not responding. It's not responding. You come closer, you shake, tap the shoulders.
No movement.
No movement, no response. Then you ask loudly, are you okay? And when there's no response, then you know that you need to activate the emergency medical service. We're talking about local emergency numbers, 911 and all that, where it's available. So you activate that. Then now you want to restore blood circulation, because what has happened, the heart has stopped.
Okay, and invariably there is cessation of
blood flow. You need to restore that. That's what the chest compression does.
Okay.
So in this situation, initially it used to be ABC, check airway, breathing.
Okay.
Yes, there used to be so from all the reviews, and currently now we are talking about
airways,
CAB, breathing and circulation.
Okay.
Now it's CAB. So circulation first, airway and breathing.
Okay, so it's now
CAB.
CAB. Okay, circulation,
airway and breathing. So
and breathing.
Put the person, first of all, take the person away from danger if there's danger around. Then you put the person.
When you mean danger, sharp object, water,
for example,
fire
in the traffic, inside the football field. So it can happen at home, in the kitchen.
Take the person away to safety.
Safety first, and also for your own safety. So what you do, you put your hands, lie this patient on the back, check for the carotid pulse, check for the pulse on the neck.
On the neck.
Yes, and if it's not pulsating, you shouldn't waste time.
If it's not
there's
no movement,
and then you are not feeling any pulse, any beating there, which represent the heartbeat, then you need to start CPR. What do? You place your heel, the heel of your hands,
Okay.
yeah, of one hand over the center of the chest,
Okay.
between the nipple.
Okay.
Then you place the second hand over it, and you lock the fingers, interlock the fingers.
Okay.
Yes.
This is the heel.
Yes.
Then the other one this way.
No, not that way. It must be on top.
Okay, on
yes,
top.
stay on top. Now you are kneeling very close to this patient, lying in your front.
Okay.
So you adjust yourself so that your shoulders will be over the patient, over the person. Then when you do that, as you do this, your hands are straight.
Okay.
Then you lie, your shoulder is directly on the person.
I'm not to stay across the person.
No,
beside
the
person.
So you bring this, and your elbow must be straight. Then you deliver the compression.
Okay. How much force do I need to apply?
Well,
for trying to save one and then cause another.
Yes, occasionally ribs can break, but it's not very common. The force you can apply, the force that can take that chest down to 2 to 2.4 inches, approximately 5 to 6 centimeters.
How do a layman calculate that?
You don't need to calculate it.
Okay.
You don't need to look for ruler or whatever to calculate. But do it hard and fast.
Fast.
Yes.
Okay, now when you mean by fast, how many counts are we counting?
Yes, 30 chest compression to 2.
As a slow count of 1 to 30 or fast count of 1 to 30?
Fast count of 1 to 30.
All right. Dr. Innocent, I'm going to pause you here. We'll take a break. When we'll come back, we'll continue with CPR.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually looking at the circulation, breathing, and airways.
Yes, that's the new.
We'll take a break. When we'll come back, our consultant anesthesiologist will see me in the house, Dr. Oyero Onosolese Innocent. We'll be right back. We're still looking at the topic today, cardiopulmonary resuscitation, CPR, who should have it and how to administer it, and of course at what point is it an emergency needed activity. I have Dr. Oyero Onosolese Innocent, a consultant anesthesiologist from the Federal Medical Center here in Asaba in the house. Of course, I want to use this opportunity to say a big thank you to the NMA who has graciously loaned us to resource person for today. Okay, before we went on that break, Dr. Innocent, we were looking at the CAB pattern of administering the CPR.
The C component.
The C component is how to make sure there is a circulation. Okay, so time is not our friend. We'll take much of what the CAC part for today, and then of course that promise is going to be a possibility this time. Okay, so let's go. Let's continue from the circulation, making sure there is a circulation on this patient that is already lying critically.
So when you do that, I said you must allow for a complete recall of the chest before you give another compression. Okay. You do it very fast and hard. Then that is when there's no carotid pulse.
If the pulse on the neck.
Yes, let's go to the airway.
Okay.
So when you look again, if the carotid pulse is present and the patient is unresponsive, so you look at the chest if it's rising. Somebody that is breathing, we have the chest movement going up and down. If you put your head close to the face, you'll be able to hear breath sound. Okay. So you check if there is foreign body, anything inside the mouth or this in the.
Okay, maybe it has.
Yeah, something is blocking the airway, and you clear the place. You remove it and clean the airway. Then you've done about the airway.
But how do I clean?
Oh, you can use any. If you have a handkerchief. Most of these things we are talking about is either at home, in the office, on the walkway, in public places.
Okay, so now I've given the CPR.
the chest compression,
I noticed that there may be a foreign body might have something.
and your hand can reach it,
My
you
hand
remove
can-
it.
Okay, so do I lie him in any particular?
No. This patient is still,
In that flat.
yes,
That
back, lying on her back, on a firm surface,
Firm surface.
not a foam.
Okay, not if we must have to
A
be
firm-
a hard
Firm surface, yes.
Okay.
So you have done that for the airway. Let's talk about the breathing.
breath.
If the breathing is abnormal or is not breathing at all, then this is when you begin mouth to mouth or mouth to nose or mouth to mask ventilation. But let me quickly say, you must do it in a way that is enough for the chest to rise, and it's like 10 to 12 in a minute, and you do it for every minute.
As in 10 to 12, I'm pumping my own breath into the
Yes.
person.
You must get 10 to 12 in
For
a
the
minute.
nose or for the
Or
mouth?
through the mouth or through the nose.
Okay.
Yes. If we had time, I would have demonstrated how to do that.
You will do it. You're going to teach us that in our
So,
next-
but let's talk
Because
about, let's
right
say
now we
that
have just half
a minute. Oh, okay. Let me quickly say this before for our viewers. That mouth to mouth in this current guideline has been de-emphasized.
Okay.
That is why you talk about compression only CPR, so that you will not be worried about
Given
that.
the case of
Yes, we know that both put together can improve the success of the, but compression only CPR is also as effective and safe for the patient, for the victim.
All right, so people, this is where we have to draw the curtain for today. We've been looking at the cardiopulmonary resuscitation, how to help someone who is suddenly lost breath, and where in fact, the CPR, I believe, is just out of the hospital.
Yes.
Yes, care.
Basic life support.
Basic life support. All right, we've been talking with our resource person, consultant, anesthesiologist, Dr. Oyero Onoselese Innocent. He's been the one telling us what to do in an emergency situation. But of course, I've extracted a promise from him that next week we'll be back here with visuals and of course a template how to administer a CPR in an emergency situation. On behalf of the board and management of the Broadcasting Service, we say thank you to the Nigerian Medical Association at Sabazon and of course our resource person, Dr. Innocent. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
And to you, our esteemed audience, we say keep it with us. Next week we'll be back here to give you more life-saving situation on the CPR. Until then, on behalf of my crew, my name is Lucy Erickson. Salutes.